all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, everybody. How are we doing today on Wednesday, aka Hump Day? My girl, how you doing, Miss Gail? How you feeling, sweetheart? Hopefully things are well. Happy New Year to you. Hope you and the family are doing well, sweetheart. It's good to see you, Miss Gail. So we got a couple of things to cover. Hold on real quick. We have a couple of things to cover today. And we're kind of going with this whole the hyenas, the belittling of marriage, and the upliftment of the dysfunction and the broken homes. And this uplifting of the dysfunction and the broken homes is done so under the guise of trying to say, I'm going to let you just listen to it so you all can understand where I'm coming from. Here we go.
Old woman that waited until she got married, had 3 kids with her husband, helped her husband get a bachelor's and a master's degree. Then he went ahead and left the house, got a 1-bedroom apartment across town with his girlfriend, and never, ever paid a bill in that house ever again to his stay-at-home wife. Yeah, his kids ended up being homeless. I know a man that was married, had a kid with his wife, but when the kid got here, he realized he didn't really want to be no daddy. It was too much for him. To the point where his mama had to come and show her ass, because why is you acting like this towards your daughter and your wife? I know a woman who was married and had kids with her husband. They got a divorce though eventually, and he decided after the divorce he didn't want nothing to do with them kids. Maybe a weekend every other week. Because I don't know who y'all be talking to. Y'all must not have a wide variety of women that y'all are out here conversating with, telling you their stories, telling you their experiences while walking through life of multiple ages. I don't know if you ever sat down and talked to your great-grandmama about nothing, sir. But y'all need to realize the delusion y'all living in. Y'all living in the Matrix. In real life, a lot of women getting played while being married. Okay, so you need to chill the fuck out about waiting in there. You should have waited if you would have got married. I know married women having worse experiences with an ex-husband than a damn baby daddy. Okay, playing some. I know a woman that waited.
Now, I can't help but see, here's the thing. Here's where hyenas get traction. I'm gonna tell you where hyenas get traction with stuff like that. Because while I don't believe her, I don't believe that she know any of the circumstances or stories that she just told. I genuinely, I don't believe it. But the way in which things like this get traction for a couple of reasons. The first one is because negative things tend to get more traction than positive things. Okay. Secondly, there's always the possibility that a woman is in a relationship with a guy that doesn't have good intention. And those negative intentions play out. and it undermines and destroys a relationship. Nobody's saying that every time a relationship ends, it's 100% the female's fault. All the time, no exceptions. The men are perfect, the women are horrible, and that's it. Nobody actually says that, right? But you wouldn't think that that's what's not being said by the way in which hyenas come out in force to uphold a standard that is in the deepest part of the lake of fire. Do you understand? Because what she's saying is the baby mama, baby daddy setup is more preferable than a marital setup because there are no guarantees in a marital setup. But first of all, let's think about guarantees. There's nothing in life that you're going to do that is guaranteed to absolutely 100% work. The best we can ever do is our best, make a firm intention about doing something, go about it in the best possible manner that we could ever know to go about that thing. And the rest of that is faith. Do the work and have the faith. Okay? Even the Bible talk about faith without a work. So you can't just hope and wish. You have to make an intent that you want to do something or you want to have something. And then after you make that intent, you have to go about actually physically, practically doing whatever it is that you need to do in order to achieve whatever goal you set, whether that goal is a successful marriage, a successful business, or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter what it is. And then after you make your intention and then you put your best effort forward consistently in order to achieve the result, the other part of that, the part of that we can't control, that's where faith is at. That's where faith is at. Faith covers all of the situations and circumstances that we can't foresee, that would have been beyond our control anyway. All of that. So there's no guarantee of anything. But what happens is when you engage in illicit sexual contact, these are all the problems that come with that. And we're going to get a little bit spiritual today. Because all of the problems that we see happening around us societally, culturally, as a people, on the world stage, everywhere that we see a problem is because of not following the Most High's instructions, not following the guide, not following the rules, not following the commandments. You know, we don't follow them. So all of these workarounds now, marriage has never been a guarantee of complete success from start, and the finish is somebody passes away. Marriage has never been a complete, it's got to be a success no matter what. There has always been a failure rate. But when more people are married than are not married, that actually stabilizes society more than what you've got now, which is a whore culture and a culture of baby mamas, baby daddies, hooking up, shacking up, casual sex, casual dating, all of this foolishness that we got going on. All of the foolishness we got going on can be traced back to not following the Most High's instructions. If you got a Bible, you ain't following it. If you got a Quran, you ain't following that either. Allah already told us what to do. And more specifically, he told us what not to do. But we, in our infinite wisdom, we decided as a human being that we're going to do what we want to do. And we're not going to allow Allah to govern what we do. We got people even out here that think that marriage is not to be governed by your spiritual value or a religion, when marriage only is here because of the Most High. I keep saying that mankind did not designate marriage. Mankind would never have put that restriction. We too prone to fornication and adultery. We like that too much. So we never would have imposed such a restrictive thing as a marriage. You got to be responsible for everybody. Everybody got to be responsible for everybody else. Wives have rights. Husbands have rights. You got to see to the rights. The children got rights. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has rights on each other that need to be upheld, that need to be looked after, that need to be made sure. And we're accountable to the Most High God about what we did with those relationships and the people that we were supposed to care for and give out and give their rights to and observe the rights of people. Mankind would have never done that on their own without prompting. Because we don't like restrictions, especially when it comes to sex. We don't like restrictions. And today's society proves that. Nobody likes the restriction. Nobody likes keep it in your pants. Nobody likes do it with your husband or your wife. Nobody likes the commitment that go with things, the commitment that come with sex, the commitment that come with children, the commitment that come with living together. We just want to do it. And then we want it to turn out the way we want it to turn out. We can't have a traditional outcome by not doing the traditional thing. Because what we fail to realize is the so-called traditional roles are stemming from religious structures. It stems from that. That's where it comes from. That's why no matter what we do, we really can't get away from it. Try as we might. And we've been trying for a long time to escape the rules and the regulations and the commandments of the Most High. We've been trying to do it. We have not had a success at all. That has not been successful. We got all kind of STDs. Okay, that's number one. Okay, this one is mine. Not everybody's worried about cheating. Not everybody's worried about infidelities. Not everybody nobody can trust each other. You know what I'm saying? There's no trust. There's no nothing there. You just flying by the seat of your pants. There's no vetting tool. You don't know what to look for in people. You don't know why you getting married or why you're not getting married. You have no idea. Oh, it's easier to just, smut around. It's easier to just go get a prostitute. It's easier to go get a trick than it is to buckle down and understand what you're supposed to do as a wife or a husband. So all this anecdotal evidence that she just gave out in that video, all of it negative. And I'm actually getting tired of that. Because it's what it says to me is that the hyenas, both male and female, like this dysfunction. They like it just the way it is. Just the way it is. It's a lot of people that like it just the way it is, just as chaotic and dysfunctional and toxic as it is. Now, they'll get in front of somebody and complain about the toxicity, but they don't want the toxicity to change. They don't want the environment to change. It's not a lot of people that want to get rid of this whole environment because it's fun and it's easy to get hoes. The transaction is much easier than the commitments and looking after each other's rights. Much easier to do that. Much easier to do that. Tell me it's not easier. Tell me it's not easier to just do however. But it's not better. It's easier, but it's not better. Because we are in a deplorable state. As a people in general, Black people, male and female, we are in a deplorable state. The women are in arguably a worse state than the men. The men have their own issues. I keep saying that. Because when you listen to how a lot of our men interact with one another, how they think about the world, the men are in trouble too. Men is in a lot of trouble. But the women are delusional about the trouble. And that's where the biggest problem comes from. The women are delusional about the trouble. You might be able to get some men admit the trouble that men are in, but women, we've gotten comfortable in this toxic environment where you can move from one individual to the other sexually. You don't got to know them. You don't got to like them. You ain't got to talk to them. You don't got to emotionally connect. You don't have to do nothing. You just meet each other, see each other on an app or wherever you seeing people, and just come on. Like animals in a field. You know how an animal will just go over to the other one. Ain't no conversation. You in heat? Well, all right. That's all they need to know. All any animal need to know is that the other one is in heat now. Time to get it going. Ain't no conversation necessary. And that is what the human being, that is what Black men and women have reduced themselves to, lower than the beasts of the field. And it's lower than the beasts of the field because the beasts of the field doing what they supposed to do. When they do that, that's how they built. They built to do it like that. We are not. And then we cherry pick which one of God's laws we like to do. And which ones we gonna pay attention to when it's convenient. A lot of these hyenas want to talk about infidelity, yet they cheat just as much or more than the men that they having a problem with. They cheat just as much or more. So what does marriage mean to any of them? What do it mean to any of them? Because they don't want to uphold what is right. They don't like what's right. They don't like what's good. They don't like the instruction. All these women lie about, not all, but you know what I'm trying to say. A lot of women, at least 30% or more, 30 to 40% of women who have children, multiple children, lie at some point about who the father is and all that kind of stuff. The paternity can't be determined, or they don't want it to be determined. And the reason they don't want it, the reason why majority of the females do not like the concept of having a DNA test at birth, whether you married or not, is because they would be exposed for all of the cheating that they do. All the cheating that you swear to God the men are doing. All the cheating you swear that the men do. Let's talk a second about cheating. Let's talk a second about cheating. And I'm not going to be a couple folks' friends after this. Notwithstanding the natural disposition of men to want to have sex with more than one woman at a time. When I say at a time, I don't mean a menage a trois. I mean, he's in a relationship with one and wants to have sex with other women. Notwithstanding that natural disposition for men, cheating is not okay. Because we either going to have the truth or not. We either going to have the truth or not. If you know you are a man that you're going to have more than one, you're going to. That's just what it is. You're going to. Then that truth need to be stated and said and known and understood. There is absolutely zero reason to lie to any woman about that. Zero. You may not believe it, but zero reason. Zero reason. Because women is either going to get on board or they're not. And most of them will, regardless of what they say. Regardless of what they say. The majority of women that claim they can't and won't, they will. They will for a particular man. They may not do it for every man. But they can see it. They can see it. With some men, they can see it. And there is no reason to lie to no woman about nothing you doing as a man. Nothing. Because what's she gonna do? What's she really gonna do? What's she really finna do? And I know y'all ain't trying to lie to keep one of these hyenas satisfied. I know you ain't doing that. Please tell me y'all are not sitting in y'all manhood trying to figure out how to lie to appease and keep a hyena. There are enough good women. There are enough good women who will come to an understanding with you. There are enough good women that will come to an understanding with you. Because what'll be appreciated is the truth. She know what she walking into. Yep, I understand what I'm about to do. So that she can consent to being in a polygynous relationship, not a polyamorous one. There are differences, and I hate that all of that stuff get combined. It's not a polyamorous relationship. The women that you have are not in relationship with each other. They're in relationship with you as the man. The women are in the relationship with you as the man. Proof that women will consent to a man having more than one woman is the side chick that know for a fact you married. And I'm not talking about the side chick that don't like you. I'm talking about the one that like you. I'm talking about the one that would have loved to be your wife. I'm talking about her. The one that's your other woman. That's not a trick. That's you love her. That's the proof is in the pudding. Now, some women can't take it. Some women can't take it. But there are enough women who willingly do this that it ain't gotta be no lie. Because the lie is where they find the disrespect at. But if you knew what you was supposed to know coming into it, you can't say nothing about what somebody didn't tell you. Absolutely, you were told. Absolutely, you understand. You absolutely understand it. So polygyny and polyamory are two different, very different things. Polygyny is when there is one husband and multiple wives. Wives. The key word here is wives. Not side chicks, not hoes. Wives. Women that you have raised the status, both of their statuses to wife. And one is not lesser than the other one, and one, none of that, none of that. I'm going to say something else that's unpopular. There are some women who can see it. They can kind of see it, but then they can't. In order to be a woman in a polygynous relationship, you have to practice the art of letting go. And that's not a negative or a bad thing. What you got to understand is people are not your possessions. No one owns anybody. Nobody. People don't belong to you in the sense of possession and ownership. People willingly and consciously attach themselves to one another. You have to be able to practice letting go. And what you're letting go are feelings of jealousy. Jealousy is rooted in the feeling of possessiveness. Now, some women can work that out and some women cannot. I'm not even going to put it on she's bad or good. I'm not even going to put the qualifier on there because she might be an awesome wife. But you got to be able to let go of things. And you got to be able to let go of people. It requires you to understand why you're really married. It requires you to understand why you're actually married. And sometimes that's a hard pill for many women to swallow. Many women cannot swallow that pill. They can't understand it. They can't really do it. It hurts them. The reason why it hurts some women who are maybe faced with a polygynous situation or what have you is that they start feeling like there was something wrong with them, or that they were less than, or that somehow, some way, they were not enough wife, enough woman for their husband. And it's really not that. In cases of polygyny, I'm not talking about sleeping with everybody. I'm talking about polygyny. I'm being very specific with my words. Most women share, or at some point have shared, whether they knew it or not, a man. And they was happy in the relationship. Was not bothered in that relationship at all. Was good, actually. They was cool. When we're talking about polygyny, it's not sleeping with everybody. Polygyny has, you have wives, and you don't step outside of those particular women. It's a such thing as getting tested before you're married, like a monogamous marriage should do. So there's no spreading. You gotta have a disease to spread it, or you gotta be everywhere with all the people, or whoever you want to sleep with. See, I'm not even really talking about that. It's some women can't do it. They cannot. And some women can. And there are more women who are doing it knowingly. They just don't like the label. The reason why a lot of women who are side pieces like the side piece situation rather than a polygynous situation is because when you're a side piece or whatever, or you're having an illicit relationship, there's no expectation of ownership and possession, which that becomes cap too, because a lot of these side chicks feel just as strongly about that man over time as the wife do. We got to start facing reality. A lot of folks just don't like the label. A lot of folk don't like that label. They don't want it. If I'm married, you're mine. You belong to me. I own you. And if I own you, then you can't be with anybody else because I own you. And it's a lot of folks got to work that out. Or don't work it out. But that's the issue. I know I ain't gonna be a couple folks' friends after today. Folks ain't gonna be my friend today. Couple folk ain't gonna be my friend. And I'm not even here to castigate nobody or say somebody's wrong or right or better or worse. As a woman, if you can't do that, I'm just giving a dose of reality. Because there are a lot of women who do, and it proves that they can. They just don't like the title. They don't want to be seen as being settled for. They don't want to be seen as being less of a woman. Women don't like that, to be seen as less of a woman, or you're letting your husband do something to you. That's really the crux of it. They don't want to be viewed as you're letting your husband disrespect you and you're staying. Women don't want to be put in that box. Oh, you letting him disrespect you? You let him do this and let him do that? Because there are some men that cannot. He can want to all he wants. Physically, he might be wired to do so. But there are men who don't. Both forms of marriage are okay. Monogamy is just fine. Monogamy is just fine. There's nothing wrong with monogamy. People who can complete monogamy, they're just fine. Nothing wrong with them. What I'm trying to stress is there's also nothing wrong with the people who can do polygyny. I'm addressing the stigma of polygyny is what I'm doing. I'm not downing monogamy. I'm addressing the stigma of polygyny. Because somehow in the situation of polygyny, the woman is seen, or the women involved are seen as less than, or putting up with, or being disrespected. When they're consciously involved, they're consciously and consensually involved. Because see, monogamy has this to it, and it do. But polygyny is looked at on the exact same level, maybe even lower, than the grimiest cheating that you can do. It's looked at as a situation of, what's the word? It's looked at as a situation of, it's detestable. It's detestable. It's disgusting in a lot of people's eyes. Polygyny. Ew. You let your man have other women. You let your man have other women. The women that so-called getting cheated on, is they letting them, or is he doing it? The women who are getting cheated on, are they letting them or is he doing it? I just don't like the fake facade. Because there are women who have been with men in marriages and know completely about the other woman or women that he have. They protest every once in a while and they're not going nowhere. But they want to uphold the thought that they protested, that they're not just going along with something that degrades them. That's why they don't let these men, quote unquote, cheat in peace. Instead of having a conversation with your husband, we already know what's going on. I already know what I know. So instead of me trying to not face this or not, because I know I ain't going nowhere, because you actually don't treat me badly and I love you very much. Why don't we have this conversation? It may be a hard conversation for me to have, but we have to have it because the reality is it's happening. The reality is that it's happening. Whether folks want to admit that, deny that, run from that, I don't care how you try to chalk that up. That's a lot of wives' realities, whether they want the title of polygyny or not. And the reason why I addressed men not lying about it is because you have to give your word as a man about what kind of relationship you're trying to have. If you're the type of man that can only do monogamy, you're not going to bother yourself with more than one woman because you just, for many reasons, you just not going to do it. You can't and or won't. Then that is a promise. That's your word. We're going to have a monogamous relationship and do it. My first marriage was monogamous. He didn't want to deal with other women. He let that be known. No, he had a little flare up about it at one point, but that went nowhere. We remained monogamous. At no point during that first marriage was we ever polygynous at all. And the reason why he was even able to broach the subject with me in the first place is because I made it a safe space for him to say that to me. He knew he could say it to me without blowing the marriage up. That prevented the lie. It prevented him trying to sneak or trying to lie or bringing any deceit in it, because that would have broke the marriage up. The deceit, not the other, not another wife. But I created that space that I'm not going to be tripping out. You can actually say that to me. And like I said, it never went nowhere or whatever. My current marriage now is polygynous. There's no real difference. What do I mean by that? There's no real difference in the way I'm loved, as in I don't feel no lack of it. I don't feel a lack of attention or time. I don't feel a lack of protection. I don't feel like I'm missing a husband. I don't feel like, well, he be missing. I really can't. He there and he ain't there and he's not available. I have not experienced that at all. I pretty much interact with my husband as often as any monogamous woman with her husband would interact. And having now experienced both types of marriages, I think that's another concern that some women have. Oh, well, you know, between another wife and work and this and that, I'm never going to see my husband. That's actually not true. Depending on husband you get, you got to choose wisely as you would for a monogamous relationship. The same attentiveness goes into both kinds. There's no difference in that. You have to vet the same way with the same intensity, the same questions, the same address the same concerns, all of that. It doesn't matter if the marriage is polygynous or monogamous. Though the things that come into play to make a marriage work actually still have to be there. We don't even have to. This, like I said in the beginning, the wives are not in relationship with each other. I mean, if a friendship or whatever forms between two women in a polygynous relationship, then it do. I'm just trying to get folks to deal with reality. And sometimes that's bitter for some people. But the reality is the majority of women in this society dating how y'all date and moving how y'all move in romantic relationships, you're already in it. Most of you. Women just don't like the title. They're lowered by it in their minds. In their minds, they feel lowered by it. And then it's just like, they can't balance the feeling of being in their minds diminished by the entire process. And then just him thinking about another woman in the same way that he think about her, that's what hurt a lot of women. That's what hurt their feelings. Exactly. Don't like the concept of polygyny, but that's why I say the majority of women are already doing it. How many Black women with multiple children have either multiple baby daddies, or, which is ridiculous, or they've got 2 or 3 children with a man that has 2 or 3 other baby mamas, and she know that. And she will raise all kinds of foolishness with that man, knowing full and well what she walked into. Now all of a sudden, he should contact his baby mama. Yes, he should. Yes, he should. You want him to contact you? How that work? Now he with you. Now his other baby mothers is not in his life. That, yeah, they absolutely are. They absolutely are. Maybe you should have closed your legs until you got with a man that didn't have no other kids. But you went right for him because the word around the hood was that he had good D. You knew he had 2 other baby mamas crossed the way in the other neighborhood. You didn't care nothing about that. You was trying to ease up on him. Now all of a sudden, when you got a baby, you got to be around them all the time. Now you don't want to see these other females and run into them, and you know what I'm saying, catch him talking to one, and just shut up. You know he had 2-3 other baby mamas before you got over there. Shut up. Sharing them anyway. Y'all sharing them anyway is what I'm trying to get y'all to understand. You not wanting the title don't stop the reality. Because y'all share men all the time, even if there are no children involved, even if there are no baby mamas and stuff, you sharing a man somewhere. And the getcha gotcha is you don't mind it. Because you feel some type of way about him. So you will say, well, out of sight, out of mind then. That's how a lot of women chalk it up. Long as I ain't got to talk to her, she don't bother me. Women were saying that in the 70s. I don't care about those other girls. Just be good to me. The women were saying that back in the day. I'm gonna need women to stop the cap. We were singing about it. Barbara, this is Shirley. We were singing about it. Women were singing about it. A whole love song. One of Whitney Houston's famous songs is I'm saving all my love for you. Side chick anthem. Why do you think it was so popular? It's morning. Sunlight shines across your sleeping face. We don't share men. Consistently. It's the unspoken thing that women don't want to talk about in the culture. Thank you. You can't have all of me, 'cause I'm not totally free. I can't tell you everything that's going on, baby. Let me read these super chats. Thank you, Miss Olivia. Said I'd never share my boyfriend. Way too jealous. Thank you again. Said women let their man have other girls. It makes it harder for the rest of us girls to find someone. Thank you, Bree, for becoming a new member. I appreciate you, sweetheart. Thank you so much.
But now you have been promoted. You are now one of my elite employees.
Thank you, Coogee. Indeed said this happened a lot more often in the previous generations than we realized, and grandma knew about it whole time. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Miss Lou Casey, for your super sticker. I appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Said, thank you for your honesty. I've been saying this for years. I will say, though, parallel is where there is no relationship between the wives. Kitchen table is when they do have a relationship with each other, not necessarily romantically. Thank you so much. Let me see. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. So before we get out of here we go.
Join PCTechForum.net is a new site. And so we'll be discussing everything related to tech news. They'll be discussing the latest processors, graphic cards, laptops, hard drives, computer cases. They also have a section for pre-built PCs and custom-built PCs, and also a PC straight from the manufacturer. They also be discussing the operating systems and how to troubleshoot them. And said, last but not least, they'll also be discussing the latest games and business. The site is brand new, so people will join for the first time on there. So come and sign up today at PCTechForum.net.
All right, so what you want to do is click the link at the top of the chat, PCTechForum.net. Help the brother reach his goal of 300 subscribers to that forum. Once again, the link is pinned to the top of the chat, PCTechForum.net. All right, jump down into the comment section. Let me know what you think, like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.